which I think is, to me, kind of the coup de grace of this entire van. Well, buenos dias. Welcome to another bonus episode. I know you're dying for ski episodes, but this is another episode that has been very requested. That's right, we're going to be doing a van tour today, going through this beauty. Okay, so let's start off with the basics, the van itself. So this van is a 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. It is a 2500 four-wheel drive version. And it's actually technically all-wheel drive, but the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, I'm not gonna get into here. This is the 144, which is the shortest version Mercedes makes of these vans. And the reason I went with the short version is because it's more maneuverable, it's got a larger departure angle for off-road situations, and the van itself is pretty gargantuan compared to all the prior car camping setups I've had in the past. Essentially, the camper. The engine is a 3.0 liter diesel straight six. It's got a 7-speed transmission, but all that doesn't really compare to what's on the inside. So let's get in there. Okay, wait, before we actually get inside the van, I want to talk about who actually built this. So this van, everything that's done inside was done by Alpine Vans out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Alpine Vans is Todd Lieberman, Jim Gutenkunst, Adam Killian, and Jamali Bezid. So what sets apart Alpine Vans from the bevy of van builders out there? Well, there's a couple things. Todd, who founded Alpine Vans, comes from an entrepreneurial, technology, and software background. And so his goal was to take all that experience and bring it into the van building space. But technology is all well and good if you want an erector set. What Todd wanted to do is utilize 3D printing, CNCing, and all this new software out there to build a van that is quick and easy to build, but also has the comfortable soul of a cabin. So the design and layout of this, I worked with Todd at Alpine Vans to kind of build it out according to my needs as a professional skier and this project, the 50. I used some of my experience with Bjarne's van, some of my experience with my prior GFC to kind of lay this out in the best possible way for this project itself. So the first thing I thought of when designing this van was heat. Obviously, I'm going to be using this a lot in the winter. And compared to my prior car camping setups, it was quite a luxury to have heat for the first time. So I've got two Eberspacher heaters, one under the seat here and one under the seat there. That second one we'll get into a little bit later. These Espar heaters are amazing. They run off the diesel fuel from my diesel fuel tank and sip about a ½ liter at full blast per hour. So I'm able to keep this van toasty warm during the winter. The other thing I invested in was this. These are window insulation. These cover the windows to keep that extra barrier of warmth. These are made by Strawfoot Handmade out of Santa Cruz, and they were an incredible investment. Definitely felt the difference by having the window insulation versus not. So this is the kitchen area. So I wanted the kitchen to be facing outwards. So in the summer, you're kind of cooking, you got good ventilation. In here, I've got a Dometic sink and 2-burner propane stove. I've got my isotherm fridge right here, and also a little compartment down below the fridge for all my utensils, knives, and such. The last little bonus item is this guy right here, my little apres table. If I want to cook outside or have a drink outside, got that right there. So now for the dining area. So first thing I actually wanted to talk about was the build itself. So up here, a cabinet, just your basic cabinet with some of my kitchen supplies. But what really separates this cabinet compared to a lot of other cabinets, this is a foam core wood. So it's not solid wood. So essentially it adds an insulation value and also makes the van way, way lighter. This build itself is 2,000 pounds under payload. So what that means is, one, I've got better braking, better gas mileage, and I can load up the van with more stuff while still driving safely. So I want to show you the kind of magic of this dining area. So first off, I got 2 captain's chairs. So you've got seating for 3 with this lagoon table and this handmade wood tabletop. This thing pivots, moves up and down. I also have this chair here, and if you give me a second, I'll show you what this transforms into. So now we have the dining room that turns into the guest room. So small little bed, put your feet out onto the captain's chair. It even fits me. It's a great little guest bedroom. So in addition to this bed, below it, I've got a little bit of extra storage. This is where I can keep my whiskey. And then below there is where the extra heater is. I have a few extra plugs, but that heater is specific to this closet, which I think is, to me, kind of the coup de grace of this entire van. So that heater is forcing air straight into here, and this is where I put all my wet ski clothes. I even have a boot rack and a glove drying rack built below. So I can turn on that heater right here, turn on for an hour. I got wet clothes, they're spot dry super quick. It's pretty cool. Okay, and speaking of moisture, thinking about drying out, what I also have is 2 Max Air fans right here. The benefit of 2 is, especially in the summer, you can reverse the direction of each of them and get really good airflow. During the night, I always have 1 cracked and 1 fan on. Obviously, when I'm cooking, I definitely always have the fan on to ventilate the carbon monoxide buildup from this propane stove. Below here is my water closet. I've got a gray water tank and a freshwater tank. I've got my propane that goes to my stove right here. And then here is where my water pump is that goes directly to this sink and stove. Above here, above the water pump, I've got some electrical outlets. I've got 12 volt. This is my heater control, light control, and then my battery and energy management system. We'll talk about that a little bit further on. Carbon monoxide, and definitely necessary, a fire extinguisher. And obviously when you're building a van, you're going to be thinking about your sleeping. So to take advantage of this 144, the shorter length, what I really wanted to do was have a bed for 2, but not taking up it lengthways, but by going sideways. So on the outside, we have the flare space flares that were cut out and put on after the van was purchased. And that widens your sleeping platform to 79.5 inches. So plenty long enough for someone like me, which is 6'2". Above here, I've got all my cupboards. What I really wanted with this van was a lot of storage space because I've got to bring a lot of gear. So I end up filling this up with all my clothes, ski clothes, various items like gloves, helmets, goggles. And while it looks like this is very tight below where I'm sleeping, and it is tight, it's actually been not too bad. And I prioritize definitely storage, and I still sleep comfortably. The best part about this entire build though, is that everything is built on LTrack. So this isn't bolted into the frame. There's an LTrack that makes everything removable. So if I want to switch out this cupboard, which I actually plan on doing and giving myself a little bit more height because I realized I didn't need quite as much storage as I needed this winter. So if I want more headroom, I can just take this off and in 2 bolts, put on a new cupboard. If I'm going on a trip and don't need a ton of storage, I can just take off both of these cupboards, put them in the garage, and when come back to winter, put them back on if I wanted to. Okay, so that's pretty much for the front side of the van. Now let's go to the back side to show you the garage. So now to the garage. So this is where I keep all my extra stuff. All my camping gear, a lot of my ski gear, and as you can tell, definitely my skis. So this was obviously one of the most priority designs in this whole van, was how to store your skis. So we have a ski rack here that can fit up to 194 skis. Currently I can fit 3 pairs of skis. I'm actually thinking about adding a 4th because I figured out I could add a 4th. So I'll be able to carry 4 pairs of skis lengthwise. The other benefit is this is kind of a waterproof table that on the other end has a drain that ends up draining outside of the van. So I can put my skis away wet, they drain and dry, and the water goes away to the outside of the van. Pretty cool, huh? From here, usually just use kind of my Thule bags and my Yeti bags. I'll take them out to store all my extra stuff. That way I can travel if I need to outside of the van and show you more kind of the inside. Right here, this is kind of some of my extra stuff. So I have a pee bottle, essential for van living. I've got van levelers and a tow kit right in this Yeti Go box. Below that Yeti water cooler, I have some essential goods like toilet paper, cleaning supplies in that Thule Go box. And the Yeti water cooler is essentially just extra water. So I have 6 gallons underneath the sink, and I have an additional 6 gallons right there. So in total, 12 gallons of fresh water. I usually use that one just for drinking water and the other one for cooking and for washing dishes. Okay, so below here is where all the power is. So behind this cabinet, I've essentially got my control station for all the batteries. And the batteries themselves, I've got 4 Battle-Born batteries. I've got 400 amp hours of 12 volt, essentially 4 kilowatts of power, which is enough power to power a small house, which is pretty necessary for this project. We got a lot of equipment to charge, from all our camera equipment to even things like e-bikes. This van can handle that. Also in there, I've got an air compressor, so I can deflate and inflate my tires. So if I'm in sandy situations and go to low air pressure, if I'm getting back on the road, can up that air pressure off. So pretty useful little deal right there. I also have little accessories that I've kind of built onto this. I've got this Thule van organizer onto this wall. So in the winter, I had this loaded up with all my skins, heli straps, all the accessories. So I pull my skis out, last little items, grab my skins and head off for the day. The other thing I really wanted to touch upon was some of the artwork. So a part of this technology and what they were able to do was laser etch wood. So right here we have pontoon, and right here we have meteorite. The artwork was done by Leanne Falley, who actually watched our movie Peak Obsession and drew the mountains herself after that. And she sent me the artwork for this, and we got this etched into here. So nice little memory for me. Every time I go to sleep, I get to stare at some amazing mountains. So up on the roof, I have 2 solar panels, each 160 watts, so a total power of 320 watts. I also have some Thule bars up there. That's in case I want to strap on some surfboards or put on a roof box. But I will say the roof is unfinished. I'm going to be doing some changes up there this summer. I will also be adding a Thule sunshade outside on the passenger side above the sliding door. So in the summer, I'll have a nice little outdoor shady living area. Okay, so that concludes the van tour. I will say this van this winter was absolutely amazing. It was a warm, cozy place to call home no matter where I was on the road. And I will say, I have to apologize to you. I lied to all of you. If you remember the last truck walk around video, I said I'm a truck guy.
First off, I like trucks. I've always had trucks since my very first truck. They're just more utilitarian than I find for myself and my life than vans.
I will say I'm now all about that hashtag van life. That's right, I am a convert. And if you're a convert yourself, definitely check out Alpine Vans. They're doing some pretty incredible stuff in the van building space. You can get packages for building out a van for as cheap as $80,000, which is incredibly inexpensive in the van building world. Otherwise, if you want to do custom, super high-end designs, kind of like the one you saw here today, well, you can do that as well. But check them out. They've already got orders they're building this summer. They've got a long waiting list, but they're cranking them out. I would say get on it if you want to get a van like this for your winter travels. Thanks so much.